That's your paradise? Birds of Paradise? That's
Yes,
nightmare fuel.
what do
That's
you
like
mean,
Alfred
a fool?
Hitchcock.
You're taking that game a little bit more seriously.
I'm gonna be the guy to tangent off of, even though I'm supposed to keep us on track here. Welcome to WWB Worldwide Broadcast. This is episode 44 of WWB. We don't have Tyler. It's just me and Billy, but that's all right because we're crushing it out today. Billy, how we doing?
We good. We good. Having a good night. Ready to talk some Ward.
Yeah, we took a little hiatus. We took a little week off after our live stream. We had, if anyone didn't know, we did the release party of Gen 3 at Globe News. So we were all there. We have our live stream to prove it, and we cracked a lot of cards, played a lot of games. It was quite a big event. Had Marty there to talk to. I think that was really a nice way to kind of just get a good glimpse of like where our community, a little chunk of our community is at, I guess I should say. I was pretty happy with the turnout that we had. I mean, again, first live stream that I've put on, so not only the technical problems. So for anybody, I know we had an audio problem for a little bit throughout it, but once we got that figured out, I think it ran pretty smooth, and we had a lot of questions asked and a lot of questions answered. Not so much about the future, which is fine. I mean, it was kind of meant to be more, to celebrate Gen 3, but it would have been nice to maybe get a couple more things in, ask Marty, try to pick his brain a little bit. Anytime you get to have the ward staff there, you got to try to pick their brain and get a little more out of them. But yeah, I think the release party, I mean, Billy, how you feeling now? Like you said, you got to hold Gen 3. I think I like how before I feel like a lot of people were like about the new artwork, but I think after seeing it in person, I think it definitely won a lot of people over.
Yeah, I think so too. There was a lot of talk about like, ooh, the card, the card design, the card frame change, and we had a lot to say about it. We had a lot of things we liked and didn't like, and a lot of different things, and even a little input on the before they made it.
Mm-hmm.
And holding the cards in person felt natural. They look great. They feel great. Well, the edges don't feel that great, but some of the cuts are bad. But other than that, I mean, like the cards look wonderful. They feel like ward cards still, and I picked up and played it. I didn't feel like anything was missing from the card. So
Right. When you
maybe
talk
it's
about the
probably a little
bad,
bit.
I don't want to tangent, but when you talk about the bad cuts, do you think it's just like they use like more like thicker grade of like material when they make their cards? So I feel like I wonder if that just makes it hard for those machines to like cut them like very smooth. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's kind of funny. Maybe they need to have, how when you used to have like paper in school and they'd have like the little cut line where it's like they put like a little more of an indent in where they cut apart. Maybe that's something
No,
that.
so I don't know if you've seen like videos of like how cards are made or whatever like that. But when they cut these things, they're cutting them in like they have your big sheet of cards, which has like however many cards are on the sheet, and then they'll stack like 50 sheets, and then they'll have like a big die press cut machine that just does all of them at the same time,
Hmm.
or at least just it does the line. It doesn't do like all the cuts. They'll
Right.
do it, then they'll shift it, and then they'll cut it. Um, the way that it felt to me, I work in a manufacturing plant, right? For my day job, it just it looked like maybe the blade that they used the day they cut the cards was a little dull. So might have
Hmm.
been kind of at the end needs to be sharpened or just replaced. So
Right.
I'm kind of hopeful that the next run that they do for maybe it's remaster or the next run of Gen 3, maybe they'll be better cut. So
Right, like you said. I think it's probably just part of that manufacturing process where it's like, hey, maybe again, maybe the material just affects the blade a little differently, and it's like, all right, we need to, like you
could
said,
be, yeah.
sharpen it maybe in between, or like find time when you gotta, adjust the blade or whatever. Either way, and we're getting a little technical with it. That kind of makes me want to go to my next point. I mean, as now there's only boosters available. I mean, they did bring up that starters at some point will be potentially brought back in to sale and stuff, but right now it's just the boosters. I mean, how do you feel about the 12 card boosters that were released with the 24 in a box?
I feel phenomenal. They feel so much better than the old boosters. Um, there's nothing quite like open a stack of boosters and getting Jack Diddley in there, which is pretty much how I felt opening the old boosters, which is pretty
Right.
much also why I only open starters because at least like you usually get something in a starter pack because it's 8 rares. But now with the boosters, you're getting 3 rare or better. Also, I feel like the hollow rates are higher, so it just feels like before it felt like there was a potential that if I opened a bunch of packs, I would have a bad time.
Right.
And now it feels like every time I open packs, I'm always going to have some kind of good time. I
Yeah.
haven't had an instance yet where I felt like disappointed opening cards from these new boosters. You know what I mean?
No, exactly, and I think it was always one of those things where you would see a new person getting into Ward, and then they'd be like, "Oh, in all my other TCGs, I open up boosters," and it was kind of like, not that I thought it was like a trick, but it's just like, oh, you feel a little bad when someone's like, "I bought a booster box," and you're like, hopefully they've hit something decent so they don't feel like they just got nothing out of their booster box because. You've watched me open boxes, I like to sometimes broad or like show my when I'm opening them, and I've had that booster box that has sometimes just nothing in it. So then you see the people that hit like foil assassin, foil creator. You're just like, you don't know how lucky you were opening out of those booster packs. That's like you hit one of those cards in those packs. And like you said, just knowing that you couldn't get the common uncommon. So it's like if you were a person like me or Dustin or KC, where it's like you're trying to chase, the foil sets, you just had to open starters. It was pointless for you to keep opening boosters because you just never had a chance to do it. Where it's like you said, now opening a booster packet, it feels like it's like, oh right, there's always a hollow. There's a chance for any of the hollows. And the awesome part is that it's like you're not always just going to be getting an epic or just a rare level foil in your pack. Like I feel like if I had to tell you the packs from Gen 1 that I've opened, it's like I probably have a ton of foil like angels and whatever, all those like rare whatever rarities. Sorry, my brain's farting with it, but yeah, the rarities with the foils, and so it's just like it's kind of nice now that it's like even the rare foils feel kind of cool because it's like, oh, there's not everyone's gonna be getting these these rare foils all the time out of all their booster or out of their starter packs. So just a little bit
Yeah,
different of a
that's
feeling.
no, that's actually a really good point. Because I noticed that too. I have a deck box in my briefcase that is literally just like foils that I don't use, and they're just like to trade away.
Mm-hmm.
And like 85% of them are rares, and it's just because like, and you see like, and honestly, a majority of mine are Gen 2, but it's like ambush, 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 ambush on 100, 100,
Abominable deer man, abominable deer man.
abominable, 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 abominable. It's
Yeah.
like okay, like, and then every time you open those, it's like, oh look, another one.
Mm-hmm.
But the foils feel equally, they're not quite equally because the legendaries are harder to get than the epics, but like for the most part, like yeah, I'm still getting probably more rare foils than epic foils and more epic foils than legendary foils, but like it feels very evenly distributed, if you know what I mean. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
feel like ridiculously um, you know, one-sided or anything like that. Even the common and uncommons, like they're just a nice surprise, and I'm actually getting them in the boosters, which is great.
Yeah, but again, I just like that it like changes the way that like collecting goes because as someone like I said who collected the foils, it was like okay, I guess I just have to buy starters. And the fact, I mean, obviously, it
Right.
sounds like they're gonna bring back starters in some capacity, but it's like I kind of do like what they did with the boosters, where it like okay, now it actually feels worth to get a booster. Like that was the biggest turnoff for me. It's just like why not have common, uncommon foils still be available in the booster? I don't see why they needed to just put them only in the starters because like again, it just kind of like gets rid of the value of wanting everyone to collect, open up your boosters. It makes it so it's like I need to collect the starters. So I guess if there was one thing for me at least that it's nice that it's like okay, now all I have to do is buy boosters. I don't have to buy a starter if I I'm trying to just hit a couple foils left. I don't need to spend the whole $20 or whatever. But even it's not like it's that big of a commitment. But you get what I'm saying. It's just
Yeah,
it
yeah,
feels a little better. So I definitely like that aspect of Gen 3 for sure as they just started. And seems like with the remastered of Gen 1 and Gen 2, they're also going to be doing just the booster with the foils. So I'm sure people are going to be hitting it a lot, easier to get those foils and get their hands on those cards, which as someone, now that they've made like the super, whatever the heck my title is for completing the Gen 1 foil, first foil set of all the cards, I think now there's just going to be a horde of people joining that list that it's like they just had such an easier, they're gonna be like, hey, it wasn't even that hard to find all the foils, and then you're like, yeah, imagine back in the day when it was hard to find all the points.
It's the Mega Ultra Club. And right now,
Yeah.
you and Dustin are the only ones in it.
That's what I mean, but our tier needs to be higher because when all these people get these Gen 3 ones easily, I'm going to be like, hey, all right, that doesn't even compare to the struggle. The struggle.
Yeah, we know.
I know. All right.
I still think it's going to be hard. I don't think there'll be that many people on the list. But yeah, it is easier this time.
That's fair.
I mean, it's also easier to get the 150, right? I mean,
Feels
I don't
like
feel
it.
like it's impossible to get the Mythic. I don't feel like it's impossible to trade for it. I don't feel like it's really impossible to get all of the legendaries, really. I mean,
I mean,
shoot.
if you do the math, honestly, it's there's more alt arts. There's a special card that doesn't count towards the one. Honestly, I think in some sense you could say it's actually harder. It's harder now to get the 150 because you have these alt arts. You have these cards that can just take the place. I mean, I guess you can use the alt arts in.
You can use the cards.
You're right, but I'm just saying there's more of a chance of opening up, the regular copy and the alt art copy, and you know what I mean, where it's like it doesn't actually give you higher chances of. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but the alt arts are not. They're harder to get than the regular legendaries. Like you, I mean, let me think about it. When I sat and opened Tyler's boxes with him, he pulled 6 Ashen Knights, and then and one of them was an alt art, and I don't know, maybe 2 or so of them were foil. So like, they're harder to get.
Yeah,
I think you'll pull the regular legendary before you, or the regular art before you pull the alt art.
no, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying there's a chance where it's like, okay, you're looking for the last legendary you need, and now there's a bigger pool of cards that could be in that slot than there was before. You get what I'm saying?
I guess so, but they're coming up more frequently now. The pull rates are up, so
I agree.
I mean,
for at least from the perspective we had, right? The pull rates are up, but maybe everyone's just hitting crazy packs.
I haven't seen a box that had less than. I've only seen one box that had 3 or less legendaries, and it's because one of them he got 3 legendaries and a mythic. It's like, oh no, like that's still a great box.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the pull rates are up for good, and I'm happy for it.
And that's something where I was gonna talk to you too about just obviously the mythic seems like they printed off enough copies of the mythic creature. It seems like everybody who's opens at least I would say like what 2 boxes more or less kind of guarantees you a mythic.
Well, I'll tell you, I've opened 4 boxes. I haven't pulled one. So
okay. Well, you're you just happen to be that guy. You just don't ever.
I'll get one. I'm not worried about it. It's just I'm probably the outlier there.
Well, no, you're just Billy Hughes. That's the thing. You for some reason you just don't.
Oh,
you don't pull the mythics.
I really don't. No, it's true though. Chris Fruit also. He bought 4 or 5 boxes at Globe, and he didn't pull a mythic. Now he did eventually pull like 5 of them, but like it wasn't.
Yeah, he hit the 150. I know out there, but I do agree with you. He hit like 2 alt arts, and then I think the rest he said it wasn't on it. I think he had some pretty low rate boxes too. So it's like they do exist. It's not all just sunshine and rainbows, but at the same time, it does feel with just the pictures that have been shown in the Discord of everybody cracking them. It feels like it's hard not to get something good out of your box, which I think is like pretty good, feels good now. And so it's like, but again, I do just think, the more copies that these cards are made, it's like, obviously when you look back at like how many creators there are from just the Gen 1, second edition and stuff, it's just like, okay, well, it just feels a lot different of that. It's like, it feels like everyone can get their hands on a Cabal War Chief. You aren't going to have this pile of people that are like, I need a Cabal War Chief. Obviously, unless Ward explodes and, just as it grows and grows, it's like, then it's going to be probably harder and harder. But you know what I mean? I feel like right at this moment, it feels like if you're just like, hey, I need a Cabal War Chief to finish my 150, there's like 6 people instead of like in the other gen it was like 2 people. You know what I mean? It's like it's definitely like multiplying of how many people it is to get the 150.
I don't know how many people are in the Gen 3 150 yet. It's probably 10 or 15. There's 32 people in the Gen 2 first edition 150. I think we're going to get the most people in 150 in Gen 3 first edition.
Hot take. No, it's kidding. It's pretty.
I'll take.
Yeah, but I mean, they've also you got to admit Gen 3 is probably the most printed gen that they have at this moment. I would assume they've probably kind of printed more of that than any of the others, right? Like if I had to guess, again, I don't know the
Sure.
numbers, but I think at this
Well,
point,
you they put dates on when you hit the 150, so we can always just see like
mhm,
from like the first year of the set being out,
yeah,
like
the
how many people
spread.
hit it, and
Mhm.
then you could just see like how quickly people hit in Gen 3. I mean, you could tabulate it on every gen. So
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I think, like you said, I think the boosters are probably just going to feel better, and I think it's easier at this moment to hit the 150 from what it feels like, at least from my perspective and maybe everyone's perspective. You know,
do you
uh,
did you pick what mat you're gonna do yet?
no, I honestly, I'm not too big on getting this 150. I don't know what it is. Like to be honest, like I don't. It's
You
just
have it though, right?
no, I don't have the Gen 3 150.
What are you missing?
I'm still missing like 4 or 5 legendaries or six legendaries, I think.
Crazy.
Yeah, hey, it's all right.
Give me
Sometimes,
a thought.
see, Billy, this is what my curse is. I'm the duplicate guy. I just get duplicates of all the cards that I like get. So it's like I'll have 3 copies of a card that that a legendary or whatever, or I'll get 3 creators, but I don't. That's the way my stuff works. I know it's weird.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll help you finish your 150. And you just pass me one of those creators. We call it even.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants. Anyway, though, but yeah, no Gen 3 release. Like I said, I think it's off to a good start. I mean, it feels like I'm seeing more people just joining the Discord, and it's just like they're just ready to be like Gen 3, Gen 3, Gen 3. So I think we kind of had that prediction before where we thought that this was, or at least I did. I guess I don't want to speak for you. Maybe you can say how you feel about it, but it's like I do think Gen 3 is definitely going to be a big milestone for Ward, where it's like this will really kind of like push them into like the mainstream of trading card games. This will kind of be the set that really does that. I mean, how are you feeling about that? That's just kind of my personal take.
Be nice. Yeah, I mean it's feeling good. I like the growth. I can't read. There are 10 people in the Gen 3 150 right now. Although list was updated 225, so I've seen a couple more people since then. So I guess they'll just get the list updated when they get back from Gamma.
Yeah, nah, for sure. And like you said, I think it'll be quick work. I think everyone's got spare cards. I'm seeing people crack it packs on the daily, and everybody's hitting some crazy stuff. And people are already in the the trade chat in the Discord trying to trade it. Be like, hey, I have this up for trade. I have this up for trade. Who wants these? And everybody's kind of getting what they need. So I think it's all working out pretty well. To move on from that, first we had the tournament at Globe. It felt like it was, it was kind of a chaotic tournament. I mean, it was just a crack pack,
But
Gen
it wasn't
3.
official or anything like that. It was just
It
for
wasn't an
fun.
official. I mean, but again, it was a Gen 3 tournament, so I kind of do want to cover it a little bit. But at the same time, it is a crack pack, and as everyone knows, the way we talk about it, these crack packs don't really give any good data on like the strength of Gen 3. I mean, obviously, it's like you don't have these build decks where it's like, okay, I know this card did well in these tournaments. We also had a bunch of people opening packs and like kind of like stealing the show of this tournament. This tournament was, I would say, it was like a pretty casual tournament to begin with because people
It
were
was
kind of
very
just like
casual.
there wasn't too much it wasn't like a very strict tournament, which is fine. I mean, it was meant to be a part of the event, and everybody was just having a good time and cracking packs and getting to participate. So yeah, no, I was happy with that. Just I was just kind of curious, like how did you feel with just a crack pack Gen 3? I mean, obviously we weren't at Curious Crow. They did the Average Joe. Um, was it a crack pack? No, it was like an average. You just built your Average
It's
Joe deck,
constructed,
but you could
but it
use the
wasn't.
Gen 3.
You can use Gen 3, so you can actually use any average Joe cards from 1, 2, or 3.
Ooh,
So
gotcha.
I think a lot of people showed up with their average Joe decks, and then after they opened a bunch of cards, like swap some cards in
Swapped
that
them
they
in and
thought would
out.
work.
Gotcha. But
Yeah.
yeah, but what's your take on Gen 3? What's strong? Maybe what's one card that you can take from a crack pack that you would tell people like, hey, if you're in just a Gen 3 only, what card should you be looking for?
Well, crack packs tend to filter the game down to the lowest common denominator, which just is unga bunga. My creature kill your creature because my creature bigger than your creature. So anytime you can pull a big guy in a crack pack, that's always a win. I saw a lot of the Conqueror doing really well from the crackback. He's just a rare, but he's an AL12. So,
First
you
rare
know, if you get him
AL12.
on the, yeah,
Got
first day rare
gotta
AL12.
gotta keep putting that out there.
Got like 110 HP, modest attack. Let's say 4+3 maybe.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just, you don't always get your hit modifiers and a crackback. So if you don't get them at the right time, you just kind of lose. So, or you need to put your big guy out there to beat their big guy, and it becomes Godzilla battle. So
Hmm.
I saw Conqueror doing really well, just because I think it was easy to pull. Um, trying to think of what else. There's just, I mean, it was a lot of just we want to play the cards just to see what they do. You know, I had inversion. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if it's a great card, but it's fun. You know, and that's a card I'm going to continue to put in my fun decks because it's like, ha, flip your deck.
Yeah, and I was kind of curious with Gen 3. I mean, you might have a little more understanding. When people were playing you, was there a lot of people trying to buff their creatures up, or I mean, do you feel like just Gen 3 you don't like AL is already kind of like inherently built into a lot of the cards where it's like you don't need much of like those like because I know from like Gen 1 and Gen 2 crack packs, it's like if I have a knight armor, I'm gonna put that in my deck because at some point I'm gonna have a 6 AL creature that I can make 11
Yeah.
AL, with one card. So
Yes, Bulwark got played a lot. That just makes your creature an AL12 for 3 turn cycles. That's standard, but I mean, it was a lot of just play the cards you got in your hand because your deck's not built; it's just pulled. So,
mhm.
um, and a lot of it was just I'm gonna play the card because this is an unserious tournament and we're just playing for fun. So let's just see what happens. You know, I got to pull got to do the inversion witch's cabin combo, which I was looking forward
Oh,
to.
you did
That
have the
was
witch's
nice.
cabin too. Nice.
Yeah, I got both of them. So I waited till like they had a good card. Like I waited till they had like a gnarled hand, and I was like, which cabins? That was
There you go. No, okay. Well, here I'm curious. So the car that I think is like the irresistible love of Gen 3 is the old logging road, and it is at an uncommon level too. I mean, do you feel like
yeah,
that card pretty impactful? I feel like if someone just throws that down in a crack pack, it's like oof. Like you're just like, all right, anyone wants to play Magic, you're gonna take 5 damage.
yeah. Um, I didn't play against it in the crack pack, so
Ooh,
nobody I played had it or played it. Maybe they did. It was at the bottom of the deck.
makes sense. I mean, I don't know.
I
Like
agree, it's an impactful card.
at an
I
uncommon
didn't play
level.
against
I don't know. I've that's the thing that kind of blows me away. It's like it is like it's not a magic stop card, but it is like the fact that it's just such a low rarity. I feel like it's a pretty powerful card for at that rarity of just like constant burn. It's like same with like Bramble Field. I feel like that card. It's like in a crack pack. Like you were saying, what sucks about a crack pack is when you can't hit your opponent because they're AL. But you know what you can do is play cards like those where it's like, all right, even if I can't hit you, there's ways that I can kind of burn you down, and like I don't need to necessarily like get over those AL values. But
it. Yeah, sure. Another one that was not really in a crackback, but it has the same like constant burn. Death Omen. I didn't pull it in the crackback, but I remember in the playtest. It was actually like really fun for like 2v2 because like every turn you're just like, okay, who's the low man of the totem pole? And it's like, burn, 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 burn every time. So, and you know, in a 2v2, if you're low man on the HP count, then you're taking 20 damage before it comes back to you to do anything about it. So,
right, don't be running any assassins in the 2v2s. They'll be
yeah,
dying real
right.
fast. All right. But yeah, with that, I mean, I think we covered the release party. Like I said, I think it was a good moment of award. For everybody who participated. I think it was a good time to be to participate. And like I said, going forward, I mean, now the next one will be Gen 4, and you know what, we have Gen 3 all the way until that. So it's like I'm really excited. I mean, obviously, I'm a competitive person. I like to keep track of the competitive scene, YouTube Billy. So it's like I'm just waiting for the real like competitive like wave of Gen 3 and like just the mix and everything to kind of take over fully so that we can actually get these competitive decks because like I said, we kind of left Gen 2 and stuff like with like a lot of crack packs, a lot of these, like let's get more people involved, where it's like obviously at some point I want there to be more of let's use build decks, let's have these be a lot of the competitiveness is people bringing the cards that they paid for to play the game. At the end of the day, that's kind of the world that I envision when it comes to like what it gets me excited about Ward for the most part. Um, Speaking of which, we had Frostworms Winter Cup. As we jump into tournaments, this was an unofficial. I would have loved to make it an official, but unfortunately, it was really close to the date of the release, so not a lot of people had the physical copies. And the way that the ward staff works is they want to have everyone have their physical copies of the cards that they're playing if it is a ranked tournament, which I totally understand. I mean, it makes sense. You just want that competitive integrity of people again spending the money to play and have the cards. How was your? All right, Billy, this is where I'm going to pick your mind. I want to cover it a little bit. I mean, you can talk a little bit about how you did. I mean, I think it was a pretty good turnout. We had 8 people participate, so a lot of different decks to kind of go over. But I mean, what was maybe the deck you brought, and what was your take on how the event kind of went for the Frostworm Cup?
Yeah. It went well. I think it was a good tournament. Glad I got to play in it. It was nice that you could just build whatever deck you wanted because I didn't have all the cards I had wanted to use yet. So it was nice to just test something and be like, is this a good idea or not? So I went 1-2. So I won one, lost two. I brought Algod. I really like Algod. Um, just because I think he's fun to have like a 9+9. And untap, it's not quite as satisfying to just click the button 9 times, but like in real life, like rolling 9 dice is just kind of fun. And then my general strategy was just play defense until I can get Algot out there and just smack town. And it kind of worked. Um, there's I I put too much defense in the deck. I need a little bit more offense. So that was my takeaway from that. And then there's also some cards that like I completely overlooked for Gen 3 that I was like, oh yeah, I should be using those cards. That was really good. So it was a nice learning experience, and glad I got to play in it. It was also fun to see like what other decks people had imagined up to go for it. Had some really close games. One of my favorite moments was I was playing Peyton. I think he beat me in my second loss, and I he had like oh, what did he had? He had an Octo Orc on the field, and then he played Bait, card that I overlooked as well, and that you constantly smack talk about. He played Bait, and then tossed a magic card, sacked Octo Orc to bring his Bio Dino out. It was a 9+9, pretty sick. He only had he didn't have another creature in his hand, but he had Bait, so he was able to get the Bio Dino out there. And I had my Algot out. Like I had the setup. I had my 9+9 beater. It's just he was also able to put a 9+9 beater out there pretty easily. And then they traded blows. And by the time I killed Bio Dino, my Algot was a little too weak, and then he just died. And then after that, too much HP in the cemetery. I can't bring another one out. So if the deck's only defense, then you just kind of lose. So it was good
No,
though. Had a good time.
yeah.
I like Tyler's orc deck. Um I like what Peyton did with the Biodino. I like what Adam brought with the Ashen Knights. I think it was good all around.
Yeah, I think there was definitely a good mix of decks. I mean, I kind of just want to hit the standout cards. I mean, again, a lot of good. I should also preface a lot of good players are did compete in this tournament, even though it wasn't an unofficial tournament. And like I said, so like it was a lot of people that I think are definitely pushing Ward as much as they can with what they're given. And so I think that also helps when it comes to like finding the data of like, oh, this is a good card, this maybe isn't such a good card. I mean, I want to highlight there are a couple cards that, like you were saying, Billy, that I think definitely stood out, especially since they weren't really legendaries. I think Orcs versus Apes secretly a super strong card in Gen 3 from what I've seen. I mean, obviously, just in general, when that card, if we're to talk about all these cards that give you 2 times damage against certain types of creatures, lots of humanoids in this game, if people aren't aware. So a card that does 2 times.
Actually,
Yeah, a card
yeah.
like having a Ring of Extremes without needing to worry about the requirement, I think makes Orcs versus Apes in most matchups where a lot of people tend to use humanoid creatures. I think it's very under appreciated card, and I think really was showcased very well in that tournament.
Yeah, I had at one point when I was playing Tyler, he beat me, but it was really really close, and he eventually won the whole thing. But he
Hmm.
at one point I had my Owl God out with Orcs versus Apes, and of course he's playing an Orc deck, so it got to the point where he just every time I attacked him, I was just one shotting his creatures because 9 plus 9 is an average of like 39, 41 damage, something like that,
Yep.
maybe 38, and then you times two, and that's about 80 some damage, 85 damage. Well, he was playing 3 Orc Warriors and 3 Orc Champions, and all of those are under 85 HP. So just one shot, one shot, one shot. He eventually got me because he played Possession 3 times on my Hell guy, which of course is attack yourself and 30 to 40 damage attack on yourself 3 times, and you only have 150 HP. That'll get you really close to nothing. So, and it worked.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, after he kills your Owl God, he also used Possess Dummy to take it out, and then
Yeah, do you think he's
then
Possession
use it
to take it? Yeah, that's
to
right.
beat you with it. So, definitely a pretty good
Yeah, that's
play.
a good play.
But yeah, like you said, you brought up another card, that Possession. I mean, with a bunch of big creatures that hit really hard, and having a card where
Yep.
you can make them hit themselves is usually a pretty good way to utilize their power against them. So again,
Oh
another
yeah.
card that really stood out, Possession. I'm trying to think. I think there was one more that I was thinking of that was kind of at that common uncommon. I don't know why. I meant Steam. I mean, how effective do you feel like that Steam armor was? I mean, I know you were a big proponent of Steam armor. I mean, how do you think it? Did it feel like you could, like you said, you played a little more defensive? I mean, does it in just Gen 3 only?
I,
Maybe it doesn't feel great, but maybe when you mix it in with everything else.
you know, it's one of those cards. In theory, it's good, but in practice, I don't know if it's that great in Gen 3. Like it when it works, it's great
Mm-hmm.
because like you've equipped me with Frostworms, Steam Armor, Frostworms falls off. That's awesome. I have Steam Armor on. You can't stop my attacks with Eagle Knight. That's great. You can't flame set me. That's great. But I only named like 3 cards right there that are pretty prominent. So everything else just I mean, like Iron Man, I guess you're stopped by that for 2 turn cycles, which is nice.
Yeah,
But
that's
it
another
felt
card I was thinking of. Iron Man, that definitely I think
yeah,
had a pretty good showing.
it's a really really good counter to not a lot of things in Gen 3. Now, in mixed, probably a different story because it's basically a heroism. It's a
Mm-hmm.
modified heroism for 2 turn cycles. So I think it's got more use cases outside of the Gen 3 only. But good card. I like it a lot.
No, I agree with you, and I think out of Gen 3 only too. Well, I don't know. Again, it hasn't. I don't think we've done enough testing with just in Gen 3 as it is too. But I do think it's like one of those cards where, like you said, heroism, multiple uses. It's not like it's only good on your creature. There's times where you can really screw over your opponent playing a heroism on their creature. Where I think Steam Armor can really do that too. Like I think of a card, Revival Priest, Mall Santa. When people play that card, all you have to do is equip that to it, and then they lose it. Their creature just goes right back to the cemetery, and I'm assuming so does I can't remember the wording of Revival Priest, but I'm assuming Revival Priest would just go with it because it's once the creature's gone, then the card leaves. But
Yeah, well, I mean, if you have a Revival Priest creature on your side of the field and I equip you with Steam Armor, Steam creature, or I'm sorry, creatures unaffected by magic cards cannot be equipped by magic cards. Therefore,
mm-hmm.
Revival Priest falls off to the
And
cemetery.
then it falls.
Anchor's gone. It
Yep,
falls off, and
it
then
falls.
so everything. It's kind of like a blow it up.
Yeah, it's kind of like a reverse way to instead of destroying it, you're basically just equipping it and then getting rid of it, which is it's a unique thing. But like I said, I think there are a lot of interesting uses for Steam Armor where it's not just like protect my creature from effects. So, but yeah.
Yeah,
But I think those were some of the bigger like showcase cards. Like you said, there were decks. I was surprised. I was talking to Adam V. Actually, he was thinking about making an ancient scorpion deck, and I think the strongest creatures in Gen 3 are their AL 11s. Actually, I think a lot of the AL 11s. I mean, Adam brought Ashen Knight, another AL11. I'm pretty sure it only takes one sack, or AL10, and then it turns into a 12 when it's half. So again, AL10, AL11s, I guess I call them, is like kind of these creatures that I think are actually gaining a lot, are pretty strong for what they are. And so it's like, I was surprised. We were talking about Ancient Scorpion, though, and I thought Burn, now that there isn't any bounce, I thought Burn might actually be like the new meta, if that makes sense, where it's just like, oh yeah, like people would be running some more burn heavy cards. Again, Ancient Scorpion is all the only burn card I think that even I mean, besides like what that pyro, no, the fire electoid is only with fire with forest fire. Is there even another burn creature in?
I mean, Lord burns himself.
Burns himself, yeah, but I'm talking, yeah, obviously burn your opponent, right? I don't think there is, which is kind of interesting because, you know, like Gen 1 is really heavy burn. I mean,
Gaseous Horror is all burn.
oh, yep, Gaseous Horror. Actually, that's one of my favorites so far that I've been kind of playtesting with is that.
Lava
Um,
Golem burns you if you don't attack him.
okay, yeah. But again, I think it's probably one of the more prominent, like burn, like traditional. I want to call it traditional burn, where it's like you hit them, you apply the burn bleed effect, and then they take the damage. You know what I mean after combat. So it's like I don't know. I was thinking that Ancient Scorpion was probably going to be kind of strong, but I don't. I guess no one really like tried it or thought it was going to be good. So it was interesting. But like you said, orcs, obviously Tyler taking the orc deck, winning it, and then Adam took second with the Ashen Knight. Strong decks that don't take a lot of energy to get going, I guess. And I don't know. That's what I was gonna kind of ask you. Like, how does Gen 3 kind of feel? It's like I feel like a lot of these stronger decks is like orcs. It's like, all right, you just get an orc warrior or orc champion out on the field, and it's like now you kind of have just like a strong creature. It's like having a raccoon knight with more HP, you know. So it's like, what are your thoughts? Do you feel like Gen 3 kind of moves a little faster? It's just easier to get to these like win conditions, I guess you could call them, maybe.
I don't think the creatures are entirely win conditions. I think you still need to build a well-rounded deck because I mean, even my win condition for my game was getting Algot on the field, which is the strongest vanilla creature in Gen 3. It has the most HP, so it should outlast everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, I went 1 and 2. So I don't know if necessarily getting your win con on the field is. I don't think there's a win con you can put on the field. Like, even Cabal Warchief, like, I know people played him in the Frost Cup, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't. They didn't, like, do super great, I don't think. Maybe it was somewhere in the middle, but one in Tyler's deck, one in Adam's deck, one in a third place. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think you still got to build a well-rounded deck. Got to have the considerations for what you're going to run
Sorry,
into.
were you saying the
Just like
top three people did have Cabal Warchief in their deck?
did not,
Did
did
not.
not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was my takeaway. That was another thing I was gonna get to was the fact that yeah, Cabal Warchief actually I think a lot of people were super hyped. I'm not saying it's not a good card, and you're right. I do think that card unchecked, like you definitely need to think about that card. But I don't think yeah. It seems like at least with the priority again. I mean, from a card that really tore up the meta, I think is orcs versus apes, and again, Cabal Warchief falls underneath that thing of taking double damage and as much as people don't want to think it's a big deal, it's like just being able to take double damage. It's like that affects the game quite a lot, especially when it stacks.
Yeah,
So you play two of those, now it's 4 times, and then your opponent plays once, now it's 8 times. It's like it starts to get pretty crazy pretty fast. Where it's like okay, even Cabal Warchief can die really quick. Cool card. I love the design, and I think outside of Gen 3, the more cards that get created, I think he will probably end up being like the strongest mythic that exists in the game. I mean, he's basically Steam Spider, but like better, in my opinion. So it's like, at least that's the way I kind of look at it. I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't say better because Steam Spider doesn't take a sack, but you get what I mean. It's like similar concept in those regards with not being able to be removed from the field.
hmm
But yeah, no. I mean, overall, like I said, orcs ended up taking it. I think Tyler did some pretty fun little mechanics to kind of help his orcs. Again, orcs are humanoids, and he used demon blood which is the first card of its type that lets you change the type of your creature. So for those people that do want to protect their humanoid creatures, Demon Blood is actually kind of that defensive card to protect you from, at least in Gen 3, from Orcs versus Apes, because once you turn your creature to a demon, they're no longer, taking double damage, which I think is a
Yeah, it
very
was a good
cool
tech.
iteration of a card that definitely I think will probably be utilized more and more the more people, dive into Gen 3 and try to use more of those humanoid creatures and try to get away from some of those annoying cards like Orcs versus Apes. But yeah, overall, I love the tournament. Like I said, I want to make it the biggest one I can. I do think at some point, I'm always pushing online tournaments. I'm in WWB. We're kind of like, the ones that are doing it. I wish, if there's other people that want to throw on these tournaments again, contact the ward staff too, and they would love to let you guys, give you approval to throw on online tournaments. I don't think they're like too heavy of a commitment, and I really think that like anyone in the United States has access. So it's like if you're listening to the podcast, if you are in the Discord, it's like don't feel like you can't join it. Like I said, that it seems like a lot. I understand. Like I know the number one thing is like untap. It's kind of this not it's not Ward app, right? I think people want the Ward app where they can all just get Ward the trading card game on an app, which again, as soon as they come out with that, I think that should be the next thing they really push, because that definitely opens up the window for a lot of people to easily get into the game. It's a good avenue to just, like I said, have that kind of online presence where we can potentially have more people in that ranked environment, easier access. So it's like, yeah, I think again, Untap kind of, I don't want to say it scares people away, but I think it is just like another barrier that it's like, Billy, I meant you can attest to this too. It's kind of that number one thing where people are like, I don't really know how to like navigate Untapped, and that's kind of why I don't want to try it, and it's just like but then as soon as you show them, you're like, okay, here's the steps. Make an account, create a deck, go to Ward tab, do the Ward tab. It's like then they're like, well, what do I type in? Type in the Ward card, and now you made your deck. It's like it's not that difficult, and obviously, making a game and playing against somebody, but it honestly I think is like the best thing. If there isn't a Ward app, it's the next best thing, right? Like in my opinion, especially for being free.
I mean, I probably play more on Untap than I do in real life, but that's because you can play against yourself. So I do a lot of deck testing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I like the online tournaments. So
Yeah, no, I mean I'm biased. Like I said, as somebody who, as the world moves around, it feels like people's lives, it's like we have like littler and littler windows of like, all right, I have this couple hours to do something. It's like, okay, that makes online things be a lot easier. Or I can't leave my house today because I have whatever commitments, and it's just like, all right, now instead of, yes, as much as I want to promote, the stores and people that throw on tournaments in live, uh, don't think I don't want those things to exist, but I do think just having another way for people to play, it's like, oh yeah, let's try to get this as a viable way for people to join and play and do, and Untapped allows us to do that. So it's like, again, I will promote it over and over again. That is kind of one of our goals with WWB, is just keep the online scene growing if we can. And so, speaking of that, I think this is going to be a good pivot, Billy. Do you want to talk about what is coming up in March?
yeah, dog. Um, so oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look at the name. I gotta
You got
get
to do
this
it
right.
right. WWB March into Monkey Duck Madness Cup,
Madness
Billy.
Cup.
Let's go. Tell me that is not a
Yeah,
name. Oh,
no, that's a good name. I like it. March into Monkey Duck Madness Cup.
yes. What
It's
Ward
our
needed
March.
all along.
I know, right? It's our March tournament for WWE. We're waiting for approval, but for it to be ranked officially, but
Hmm.
pretty sure it will be. So we will be doing a ranked online tournament, Gen 3 only. You have to have a picture of your deck. So you have to own the cards this time. Either me or Harry will be hosting it. But we'll be doing Gen 3 only. It'll be March 22nd, Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time. You have until March 20th um, at 10 p.m. to register.
Hmm.
Registration is $15. You have to send me a picture of your deck with your Venmo, and then that'll count as your registration. We won't take registrations registration until we get approved. So once that's
Right.
approved, I will post a link, and I'll post the ad, the poster for it on the ward, and we'll ward chat, and we'll start advertising it. But March 22nd into Monkey Duck Madness Cup. Prizes will be first place gets most of the pot, second place gets some of the pot, third place gets your money back. And also counts towards your Ranking Storms Award Bowl. So if you're trying to boost your rankings, get some more wins, get into that top 10 in War and Honor, this is a chance, and you don't have to leave your home to do it. So
Perfect. No, I love that. And just a tangent. The main reason we haven't got approved is if everyone, or if you don't know, Ward staff is currently at GammaCon right now, so they are pretty preoccupied, and I can understand why they might not be getting back to us. But as soon as they get back and approve that, we will be making an official post. All those things Billy just said, like you said, Venmo, the $15. A picture of your physical deck, and then obviously again you just got to make sure we have your names so that we can get you put into their ward ranked stats once we get that approved. So again, another tournament thrown on, like I said, as we were just talking about with the online tournament, we're really pushing it. Billy, I'm glad you have to do all the talking through. It's not as easy as it looks, right? You're like, oh yeah, what's the name? Oh yeah, what's all the information? It gets a little tricky, but you know what? You did a great job, Billy. And again, like I said, WWB March into Monkey Duck Madness Cup is gonna be how you can't beat that. So if anyone else wants to try to make a better name out of two ward cards, that's usually the way we kind of like to do it. We take two ward cards, smash them together, and then do it for the month. So I think it's a great turnout. But again, get all your friends, get anybody anyone who wants to start playing in Ward. I've noticed in the Discord there's tons of these groups of people that are popping up, and we would love to have you guys join. So again, if you know anybody and you're watching this, definitely go tell them. This is another moment where I'm going to plug. Please like and subscribe. I have looked at some of our videos where we'll get, I understand we get like 60, 70, 80 viewers, and then there'll be like 4 likes. I'm not saying you have to like. I'm not going to pressure anyone to do a like, but I would say what helps us out, which helps us get this Ward content to everyone else in the world, is if you like. So if you watch it and you're into Ward, which I'm assuming you are, you should like the video on top of just, viewing the video, which is awesome because that will help boost us up. So it's not just for us, it's for the whole Ward community as a whole. So please do that, and definitely join the WWB March into Monkey Duck Madness Cup, please. And with that, all right, I'm done shameless plugging. So everyone hates me telling you about all the stuff we're doing, but it is important. Like I said, we really try to push the online scene. I mean, that is the biggest thing. So we just want to get as many people in, and the fact that we have a way to have ranked matches online every month definitely helps get people in. And I think I want to shout out the Big Top Game guys from Georgia. Again, they are not only participating in the cups at Big Top Games, they are also participating in most of our online events. So again, you guys are awesome. If you guys manage to win some of these tournaments, I would love to have you guys join the podcast and talk and represent your store. Maybe Billy, that'll be one thing that we have with WWB. Everybody kind of gets to be like, hey, we want to represent our store along with us. And again, that is also something that I'm trying to do with a lot of these LSGs is have them try to get the owners of it. I'm actually currently reaching out to Tristan to try to get of Curious Crow, try to get him on here. Yeah, he said he's definitely interested. Busy guy, as most of these store owners are. So this is my challenge of 2026 is to try to get all these guys on. But yeah, with that, there we go. That is our tournament. Moving along. So Gen 3, Billy, we just kind of went over a little brief, things that we've seen in tournaments and stuff. I want your top 5 cards of that your top 10 5 or your top 5 favorite cards of Gen 3 so far, and they can be the alt arts, they can be any of the cards that have been released. What are your top 5? They don't have to be good cards. They don't have to be competitively viable. These are just the cards. It could be artwork. It could be any of the aspects of a card. What are your top 5 favorite cards of Gen 3?
Okay. I have a lot of them, so I'll just have to start naming the cards and just see where we get.
Yeah, just hit 5. I'm sure we'll
Um,
we'll have more segments like this in the future, so I'm sure don't worry. You'll have plenty of time to hit
I'll pick
all your good ones.
first. I'll pick Alt Art Gnome Theon. I can name that
Ooh.
off the dome because I like the art. That'll be my playmat if I get the 150.
As someone who owns it,
Um,
I own that. I own the alt art, so yeah.
yeah, I own it too. That's why I'm really excited. I just pulled it the other day.
Ooh,
Um,
congratulations.
thanks, dog. I like Inversion. I think it's a hilarious card. It's fun to play. And it's just kind of like I don't know. It's funny playing your deck upside down. You can see each other's cards.
I think the
Uh,
artwork of Inversion is really cool too. Like you said, as a
oh yeah,
playmat,
that
like
art was
that
sick.
is a sick art. Like a lot of these
That would
common
actually be a
cards
great
have
playmat.
really cool arts. Yeah.
Yeah. The merchant's pretty funny. I like to hit the frog just on the table, like, what do you want? you know, pick your weapon.
Yeah,
Which
everybody
is kind
who's
of how the card plays, you
anyone who's
know.
played like an RPG, like you're just like, yeah, these people exist in all these games.
Hmm.
Some random dude out in the middle of nowhere with just a bunch of shit. You're just like, why do
I
you
know,
have all
right?
this stuff?
Yeah, how'd you get this? Don't ask what you want.
Yeah.
20 yo's. Um, yeah. So I like the merchant inversion, alt gnome Theon. Um, I like how Ashen Knight plays. I really like the. It's fun playing with it, and it's fun playing against it because it's like if I'm playing against it, it's like okay, how much damage am I about to do? Am I about to kick this thing into overdrive? And then if you're playing with it, you're like, okay, I'm like 10 HP away from overdrive. Like, how do I Dark Souls this thing quicker? And then like once I'm Dark Souled it, like, do I have enough protection? You know, it's kind of it's fun for the game state.
I like that you call it like
Um,
overdrive. It's like you're almost like just pushing it so much to the limit that you're just like, yeah, this thing is the power. It's so strong. I like that
well,
term,
if you
overdrive.
watch Dragon Ball Z, it's like the fight's going where then Goku turns Super Saiyan. It's like okay, and then all of a sudden like he's unbeatable. So
Yeah.
what's another? So that named 4 cards, right? So I need one more card.
Mm.
Um, I'll just say Iron Man from a gameplay state. That's just a really good card. I like it a lot. I completely overlooked it in the Gen 3 or your Frostworms Cup, and a lot of people played it against me. And when they got played against me, I'm like, snap, this is a good card. Um, so I'll definitely be playing with that going forward.
Hmm.
It's just kind of crazy to like just shut your opponent. Like, okay, attack roll 1, hit roll 1, speed 1, AL 1. Like that's a lot of stats at 1 that you're just like, oh, what do I do? you know?
Right, and it's a card that
Uh,
also suspends it, so you cannot buff. It's
yeah, you
not like
supersedes
buffs.
it,
Yeah, supersedes. So it's
which
like,
is what Frostworms should have been, but they took that away. It's
hey,
fine.
whoa, whoa, whoa! Don't be hating on my frost worms. We put a lot of
No,
work to get that card to even be viable, Billy. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to
no, they
hear
should have left alone. But
it.
yeah, I like Iron. I like Iron Man.
Yeah.
Also, I got a foil Iron Man, so it's just kind of fun. Like the glittering Iron Man. I think of like the stupid statue up in Hibbing. It's like
Yeah,
what's
nice
what
and
the
shiny.
card's made after.
No.
That's another thing. I like the localization of the cards. You got Iron Man, Skull, Shield Maiden. You got all these Big Mouth Bass.
Mm.
Just in Gen 3 alone, you've got all these cards that are like feel very telling that the game was made here in
Yeah, that
Minnesota.
was
So
like
I
Gen
like that a
2 with like
lot.
a Electroloon. Like I just remember that
Electrolude,
was like
yeah,
the
that's a
big.
great
As
card.
soon as you see that artwork,
Big Buck,
you're like if you're from around here, you understand
hey, you know.
exactly where they were taking that. Yeah, and so it's like no, for sure. Um,
I don't think they actually did that in Gen 1, so I think that's like started with Gen 2, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like they definitely started to add a lot more of their own personality as Gen 2. Like you said, Gen 1 was more just like let's make a card game. They made a card game, and then now
It was
they're like,
just D&D, the card game. It was just like, oh
yeah,
yeah, let's throw all
exactly.
these D&D character we've probably played with
Hmm.
at some point, and then
Yeah.
when they did Gen 2, like, okay, let's make it a little bit more like
Well, like you said, it's D&D where they're just like, all right, what are the classes? All right, there's halflings, there's humans, there's orcs, there's elves,
Yeah, there's
there's,
wizards, goblins, witches,
yeah, they just
whatever.
basically took, the general, what we think of fantasy and just kind of put it into a card game, which is fine. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that, but it is kind of nice, like you said, the evolution of like Gen 2 now. It's like, okay, now we have to add a little bit of our personality and, our background. And like I said, not a lot of trading card games come from, this area. So it's like, it's cool that they're really promoting even their own area and like kind of giving it its own platform, which I think is very cool. And they're doing it in cool cards like Iron Man. And as much as I hate the turn cycles, 2 turn cycles can be pretty impactful and can be very.
Hey, it's better than 3, which is your main complaint on Foggy Night,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I don't think this game should ever have 3 turn cycle cards. That's
The
just
next
my hot
time,
take.
the next time you see Joe or Tom, you should ask them why Witch's Cabin is a localized thing. I'll let them
Ooh,
tell the story.
okay.
But that's a personal Casey card.
Oh, okay. I guess I wasn't even aware of that. Whoa. All right. Billy's got some secrets. All right, fine. I'll ask them next time. I appreciate that. But here, until then, I'm gonna give you my 5 favorite. And Billy, the way I was thinking about doing it was common, uncommon, rare, epic, and then
Oh,
legend.
okay, okay,
You
yeah.
basically did do that though. I think you might have picked 2
What did I
commons.
name? I said Nomi, Theon,
Oh yeah, you did
Iron
2 legend.
Man.
Well, you did Ashen Knight, which so I
Actually,
guess
I
you
did
did.
2 legendaries, but common inversion was common, and then
Yeah, you didn't do an
what was my 5th
uncommon.
card?
I thought maybe you got an uncommon in there, but what would
What
be
was my 5th card?
what would be your what would be you did merchant, you did Iron
That's a
Man.
rare. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
I
you
need.
just missed an
Okay.
uncommon. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Uncommon. Mm, golly, what's it called? I mean, I have to look it up. Go ahead and do your
All
list.
right. So my card, I mean, it's just probably the best catchphrase. As much as people might not like the spell blurbs, or not that everyone doesn't like them, but I think it's a hit or miss. I think some people are like, oh, every card having a little big blurb on it is whatever. But 1-800 Marty Bear. I don't care who you are. That has to
That's
be the
hilarious.
best. You will never get
That's
another
funny.
magic blurb that will be better than that. I don't care who you are. You can. I will defend that crap to the end of the earth. So
That's pretty
the
funny.
the common card is Repair Bear. Or right, is that his name? Repair Bear.
It's Repair Bear.
I
Yeah,
just call him Marty Bear from now on. I don't even care.
that's what I'm
It's
calling it.
Marty
Yeah,
Bear. That is Repair Bear. But yeah, no. So yeah, Repair Bear is my common. It's a good. It's all right. Okay, I'll give it the artwork. It could be they could have changed it or whatever, made it. It's a little cute. It's kind of cartoony cute, like whatever. Call Marty, call the bear. I like that. Let's see, uncommon. My favorite uncommon is probably. Ooh, this is the trickier one. As a perspective or like gameplay wise, I really do like Bramble's common, right? Or is that uncommon?
Bramble's common. It's
Okay.
common.
All right. Let me see here. Cuz like as much as I want to take old logging road, I don't really know. Like it's kind of a cool mechanic that we really haven't had where it's like a pay mechanic, but it's like a consistent pay mechanic. It's
Oh,
the
don't
first.
say. So back when we did the play testing, uh, when old Logging Row was 10 HP per magic card, um, at one point I got 2 or 3 of them like on the
Mhm.
field,
Yep.
and then Tyler was holding like 8 magic cards in his hand. And I'm like, come on, Tyler, you want to pay the one, Mr. Ristic Study? He was like, I effing hate that card. And this feels like it. And then they knocked it down to 5 HP, which feels more appropriate. But yeah, very much oh, you got to pay the one if you want to play your card.
Yeah, but that feels so much better than an irresistible love. So like I will be in the camp of old logging road 100% because again, the cards I
I
do
mean,
not
yeah.
like are those blanket just shut my opponent out of everything. And if it ain't that and it's got a fun little goofy thing to it, I love that all day. They need to make more old
Yeah.
logging roads. Like obviously maybe in different versions, but I think that would be really cool. Let me think. Creature wise though, for uncommon, I like there's a lot of good uncommon creatures. Is Thrasher uncommon?
Thrasher is uncommon.
Okay, that's got to be it. Because not that I hate Steam, but I just like the fact that there is now a counter to
There's a
Steam.
counter, yeah.
Yeah.
My uncommon creature is gonna be Tri-Dragon. I played that a lot in the crack pack, and it's actually really fun.
I don't. I needed to be in the room when they crafted Tri Dragon. It's a cool idea. I don't. The card is insane. I don't know what it's like. It's always like these cards like Maniac where they're just like, what if we just got rid of the crit and the like low end, but then we just make it have this crazy ass mechanic that like I don't know. I just like you said. I
Well,
think it's
I mean, Zombie Dog and Rogue are the same way, but they're not crazy, you know.
yeah, but again, it's another creature where I'm putting a creator's gift on it so that you never get your effect. Because if you get your effect, you're just doing more damage than that. Me putting a creator's gift on you.
Yeah, but it sounds like Mind Zap's a better option.
Okay, fair enough. Mind Sap maybe is a better option, but I'm just,
Like, don't give him the hit die.
I've lived through too much Scarlet bullshit, Billy. I don't
Yeah,
want
I
to hear.
know.
I don't want to hear it. So don't even get me started about that Sprite card. I don't want to hear it. All right. Anyway, I'm taking my sweet time with this. All right, at a rare level, I really do like Atom Bomb again. Just someone with as much as we were saying like, oh, these cards, it's like a card that again changes the way the game is played. I think is always great. Having a counter to things like Foggy Night and any of these like protective cards that it's like I just think utility wise, great artwork. Again, obviously a great pull from a great game. So it's like, you know what, I'll take an Atom Bomb anytime. I think that it's definitely a cool take on a card. So not only is it a
It's,
destruction card that gives stats, it's also a destruction equip card, which they did both in
yeah,
one.
it's unfortunately needed, is all I'll say about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I see. That's the thing because I'm also someone who's very against it. Where I think they did have things in the game to deal with Foggy Night and stuff. It's called Kendo Tiger and Hive, Hive Lord. But you know what? Whatever. People were like, oh, I don't want to run these creatures. So it's like I don't know. Everybody wants their cake and eat it. It's like you know what? That's the whole point of a card game. It's like if the meta comes out and the meta is put this silly card that stops a lot of stuff on the field there are ways to counter it. Either you play the counters or you just deal with the card, and so it's like I don't know, whatever. I agree with you. Did the game need Atom Bomb? I don't know, but I still think it's kind of cool to have a card like that exist. At some point, it was gonna be in the game. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of things like that. Like the only thing we're missing right now, I think, is a card that stops you from equipping. Right? Like that's the one thing that might at some point come up. It's we have just about every other kind of like field stop card, but we don't have like an equipped stop the equipped card, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So that was my rare card, Atom Bomb. My.
Can I guess? Can I guess your epic? Can I
All
guess
right.
it?
Guess my epic card.
Phasered.
I actually. All right. Hear me out. I hate Phasered.
You hate it?
Phasered is literally again. It is a board. It is a negating card. As much as I'm gonna try to use it and break it, I'm just gonna let you know right now. I don't want that card to exist. I don't like cards that.
No, let me tell you what.
Okay.
The original
Phasered shouldn't exist. The standard Magic Phasered, I'm okay with.
It's fine.
But again, it is still just a thing where like I don't. Again, it can be negated, but it can only be negated by Mind Sap or, well, I guess almost every equip card can negate it since it's only standard. You know what? So it's not terrible, but it is, I don't know. It's definitely problematic. No, actually, Gaseous Horror is is the card that I am going to try my very hardest to make meta. I did it with Elkanos.
Yeah.
I want to take Gen 3. Gaseous Horror I think is secret OP. I haven't totally figured out how to like make it the most viable, and there are cards that can kind of get around it, but I do like Gaseous Horror. I think it's a very fun card. So that is my epic. Come on, you kind of like Gaseous Horror. I have to give it to Alec. He makes good cards.
No, Alec makes great cards. I'm glad his cards made it into the game. And even if they're not the same, like the idea is like still kind of there. So it's like, I don't know, that's kind of fun to like see a card that you were like, I kind of helped make this.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think if I had a foil one for you. I don't know if I might. I'll have to go look.
All right. All right, Billy. Here, I'll let you guess my legendary card. What's my legendary card that I?
You're gonna say bait.
Oh, you wish I. Yeah, no. Bait is that card that's gonna sit next to Sack Goat that I'm just gonna just drill and hate forever. Because you know what?
No, your actual
Someone
card you're gonna say? What are you really actually gonna say? What is Harry like? Harry likes BS.
BS. What do you mean? No, I
Oh,
have
you
my
could say
very
close
set
encounters to
ways,
trigger
man.
me. Um, no, I don't know. What's your legendary card? Just tell me. I'm not gonna guess it.
Oh,
Gnome
I'm
Theon. You're gonna say Gnome Theon because you like the
Yeah,
gnomes.
okay, there you go. Yeah, you got there. But
Yeah, there you
honestly,
go. I
it
knew
doesn't
it.
matter about the art. Honestly, I was ecstatic that they had an alt art. I'm not gonna lie, like you said, Billy. You know what? Now that you're gonna take it as your playmat, that's totally fine. I respect that. I would definitely would do it
You can
myself.
have no. You're allowed to have the playmat too. I don't
No,
care. It's
I
cool.
know.
It's
No, 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 no,
dope
no.
art.
Don't you worry. I'm gonna get a fun one. You know what? Whenever I do the Gen 3 150, I plan to really look through all these artworks. I think Gen 3 artworks have he's Fabricio
No,
kind
there's
of
some bangers.
yeah he has
Bangers for
done
sure.
he has done work on this Gen 3. You know, and I gotta give that to him. Nah, but yeah, definitely know me on like I don't. I'm gonna call it Nomageddon. I don't care what you say. It's Nomageddon in
Yeah,
my
I
heart.
know.
But that card, honestly, does that make Gnome decks actually like competitive in competitive play? I think it might. I'm actually like again, I haven't done a ton of tests with it, and no one. I need to really make a deck on Untap that's just gnomes only. Again, it is an effect creature. It is a stacking mechanic, which again I think always somehow kind of end up at the topper end of like high level play just because of those things. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how to feel about it. Like I said, I need to see how much power it really gets. You know what I mean? Like, is it significant amount of power that it will get from being like cards underneath it plus cards in your hand? Right? Is that significant?
Let me tell you, I'm not trying to like sway you one way. I know you like the card. I think it is like I don't play gnomes, but like I understand. I've played a lot. I played against them a lot, so I understand it. It fixes the one problem that gnomes have. And actually, there's two problems that gnomes have, and then they kind of fixed it with one card. And I really appreciate that from a design standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The first problem that gnomes have is that in order to make your gnomes crazy strong, you want equip cards, sure, but you mainly are relying on having a ton of gnomes in your hand. So you can
Mm-hmm.
get that like that. Oh, I have 4 or 5 gnomes in my hand. He's getting +5/+5, whatever.
Right.
But if you have 5 gnomes in your hand, you only have 3 other slots for magic cards before you run out. You're gonna get to a point where you want to save. You're gonna have some magic cards that you want to save for later, and you can't necessarily play it right now. And then you're gonna draw on your discard, and you don't want to do that. The dead card. So Gnome Theon fixes the I can clear up some hand space, but still get the effect. Dope. Um, the other problem that gnomes had is that they didn't really have like a anarchy. They didn't have an archetype
Archetype.
boss creature. Yeah,
Yeah.
archetype boss creature. Because all the gnomes are just like small little guys. And then someone got together and said, let's build a mech for our gnomes. You could put gnomes under so you could like free up some hand space, but still get the effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty sick. So now they have a boss creature, like a deck boss, and you get to free up some space for some more magic cards. I think that just kind of rounds out the gnome deck nicely. I'd like to see how it plays, but like, yeah, you got the stacking mechanic, and because it's called well, I guess it would work with Gnome again, but Gnome Theon that counts as a gnome in your hand if you're waiting to play it at the right time,
Yeah. So it still
and you're
gives you the
most
hand
likely.
value. Yeah.
And AL12 is a big problem with AL12s is that you never have the creatures to it's a tough cost, but Gnome Theon reduces that cost because you're probably already have the gnomes in your hand to play it, and you still get all the bonuses. So yeah, I think it's a really fun design, a well designed card.
Well, and I think I know Tommy was someone too who brought up Dawn of the Living Chickens that doesn't really have like a good home yet, and I think honestly, like with gnomes, I think Dawn of the Living Chickens plus Gnome Theon or Gnomageddon, whatever you want to call it, that card is just another like what's its normal stats? Is it 5/5 stats general or what?
Its normal stats is 3/3, but you're
Okay.
always putting it under 2 gnomes, which means it's default 5/5.
Gotcha. Well, I don't know. I was just trying to look at it like it will hit. It could potentially be something that you could just pull out too, and then hit with Dawn and Living Chickens too. But I don't know. Like I said, it's more of the fact that you can stack and bounce it away, so it has these different ways to kind of like keep your resources and work them out. And that's where I
Yep.
really think the strength of it will come from. I do agree with you though, the fact that it's like in theory it's more gnomes in the game. So you already have access to even more potential cards. Because I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a struggle of gnome decks, but the fact that it was like you only had 9 cards, and I know as silly as that sounds, 9 creatures is like still a pretty big amount of creatures. In a gnome deck, honestly, I wouldn't mind having more gnomes than magic cards, if you know what I mean. As long as I have ways to like manipulate the game in that sense. I don't know.
I know, but Gnomegeddon gives you the option to clear up your hand a little bit.
No, I agree. I think
I mean,
you're
because you
not
could
wrong.
have 8, you could have 8 gnomes in your hand, and you're like, okay, great. I'm just gonna put 2 of them on the field on top of Gnome Theon, and now I can pull 2 more gnomes out of my deck.
Hmm.
So
No,
yeah,
I get what
it
you're saying.
it,
It's
it
like
has the chance
having
to
these cards
be
like floating in your hand, but they're not floating in your hand, and so it's like it actually
yeah.
lets you like have cards. Now, what they need is a gnome full moon. They need a gnome. They just need a bunch of gnome, like you said, archetypal like cards that just like work for gnomes, and then we're talking. Once you get
Well,
the full new full,
we're we're getting there. Like archetypes take time to get necessary cards. So
yeah,
each
no.
set introduces a couple more, a couple more dinos, a couple more humanoids, a couple more orcs now, a couple more gnomes, a couple more bugs. We'll get there.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, I want a bunch of like now I want them to go hard on that like gnome cards like destroy themselves, but I want them to have like crazy effects that it's like if the effects go off, it feels worth it. It's like an apocalypse, but like smaller than an apocalypse. So it's not as hard to get the roll thing to go off, but when it does, it's like it feels worth it to put that card in your deck. I think that is what I want the
Yeah.
gnome archetype to be, if that makes sense. I love the hand thing, but I think that also when it comes to like magic cards, because like they have magic artillery, which is kind of like in my opinion like the gnome card, and I think they could keep rolling with that for sure. But anyway,
Yeah.
top 5 favorite cards of Gen 3 right there. I mean, if I did all the rarities, yeah, and I think as we go forward, we'll definitely have other cards that we'll like to add to that. All right, Billy. I was told you want to do some irresponsible takes because we're being very irresponsible at the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
You should go first. I
You
haven't
want
thought of one
you
yet.
want me to go first? All right. Sounds good. Yeah. So we'll end it with some of our hot takes after opening up, Gen 3 and all these things. All right, ready for this hot take. I don't know if it's not so much like I guess it is kind of a hot take, but I personally think that the war team need to minimize the alt arts as much as possible, and they should not try to make every card in the game have an alt art. My hot take.
But we love the alt arts.
Nope. As much as I love the alt arts, I think you need to keep them to a minimum because if you make every card in the game of an alt art, first off, I think that's a terrible design. I think it is just a kind of a looks like you're cash grabbing all the collectors, trying to get them to keep buying packs. Which as much as I think it's okay that it's like here everybody wants to have their unique card and that lets them stand out. Like, ooh, this was the first card I hit, the first alt art or whatever, and like, hey, the first alt art I hit, it felt really cool to hit that card too. I do really think the way that they handled it this set is actually great. I think they should do this. I think they should probably keep it to a maximum of maybe 10 cards. If they go
It's
anywhere,
13 alt arts.
okay. Well, if they go anywhere above 10, I disagree with them. I don't care
Okay,
what you
whatever.
got to say, Billy. I think 10 is the maximum you should do of alt arts. If you do any more, I think it does kind of just take away from them. It doesn't actually make them feel special in any way. And as somebody, that I'm just a big proponent. I come from Yu-Gi-Oh, where Yu-Gi-Oh literally made 7 different versions of just about every goddamn card in their game. And I will
Yeah,
tell
I
you
mean,
what, if you want a way to turn off your player base, it is do that kind of crap. So I think stay away from alt arts, or at least a lot of alt arts. You can do alt arts. I think they're really cool. Just keep them to a minimum.
okay. My irresponsible take is I want more alt arts.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. Yeah. Ready. All right. Defend
No,
that one.
listen. They up the pull rates. It's easier to get legendaries. It's easier to collect the 150. They need a way to be able to keep the collectors buying cards, and if they're gonna up the pull rates so for the, I mean, no. Listen, if they need a
Yeah.
way to, if they want more people in the 150, but they also need more people. They need people to still collect the cards. They need something in there that is you can get extra cards, but they're not needed. That's the alt arts. I think Pokemon does a good job with this. I don't get Pokemon. I don't play it. I don't care about it. But they do make it that a majority of the cards to be competitive are very easy to get. The really fun secret rare ultra whatever full art hollow diamond cards are
So your hot
the
take is
chase
every
cards.
card in Ward should be a freaking all have
No, that's
all.
not what I said. I just
Okay,
want
then
more
what's
of them.
your
That's
take?
all.
Because if it ain't that, that's the only thing I'm gonna fight you on. Because I think that is
No,
actually
I just want more of them. I love the
more of
alt arts.
them.
I love every single one of the superheroes. Dumb, but every other alt, and I don't really like the Chris Freeman Biodino. But other than that, like
Really?
all the other alt arts, no, that's dumb. It looks stupid. Come on.
Oh my! Okay. I hard disagree on you
Is
for
that my hot take that Chris Freeman's Biodino
that
is
hurt that I don't
stupid?
understand how like you're getting literally an animated picture of something that is in an animation that is being put onto a card. I think that is actually really cool art in my opinion. I think that's a lot more
Okay,
cool. It's capturing a moment in time of Ward. I think that is really cool.
Octo Orc, very nice. Boulder Rocks, very nice.
So you like
Biodino,
whoa. So you take Boulder Rocks over the Chris Freeman? Are you? Oh no! All right.
what?
No,
No, the Boulder Rocks is
we
cool.
have different taste, Billy Hughes. I will say that right
Yeah, I'm
now.
aware
We
of that.
have
You play
different
Alkanos
tastes.
like a freaking nerd,
Yeah,
sweaty
that's
piece of
fine.
crap.
I'll be Elkanost all day, but I'm just telling you we have different tastes. All right, keep your very nice. Keep going. All right, Boulder Rocks is very nice.
No, Baldrax is great.
Uh-huh.
All right, well, okay. So we differ on the alt arts. Uh, let me ask you this: what do you think of the zero cards?
I like the zero cards. Again, they do still fit in that camp. Don't make every card zero. I don't think we need every card zero. Um, if you want to
That's
do
too much. I agree.
if you want to do different kinds of, like you said, I mean, obviously there's tons of ways to alter your pictures and to make them have their own unique. I mean, every game does this. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You can do it, but there is definitely there's a range. If you do it way too much, it just takes away from the cool aspect of it. And I get that. Everybody wants their cool alt art of their card that they like. I'm sure there's tons of Gen 3 cards that people are like, I love this card. Now I wish I could have a different version of this card. Guess what? That's what all the other generations are for. All of a sudden you get to Gen 12 and they can throw in freaking Chris Evans or Chris Freeman's whatever version of whatever, and then you're like, dang, you're like, I remember when they released that, and when I see, it's like I
Right.
don't know.
Maybe my hot take is Chris Freeman should stick to animation, and I know he didn't
Oh,
request it, but his
Jesus.
art in the cards, but
Oh,
they're silly.
oh my, yeah,
No, Chris Freeman,
it's just a
great
different
animations,
it's a different
great.
taste, Billy. You just have a different taste. It's fine.
Well, maybe it's because I don't have any. Maybe that's why I'm
Oh,
salty.
yeah. So the real thing is now you're just trying to
I've
get.
got I got some Fabricio alt arts. I don't have any Chris Freeman alt arts.
All
I'll tell you what,
right.
if I had an Atom I play it every deck.
Dude, same. That's what I was about. I was about to hit you, Billy. If you have that Biodino, you're telling me you're not playing it. If you have that Atom Bomb, you're telling me you're not putting that in your deck to play it. My ass.
The Chris Freeman one? No, I'm trading that
Why
one away
you would you
immediately.
trade it? No.
Yeah, I'm trading that away.
You're
No, someone else can have
no,
it.
you're keeping it. You're no. I'm
I
not.
want no. I want I would trade it for I want the Fabricio alt art. That's way cooler.
Oh, okay. Whatever. All right. Well, see, I don't know how much of a hot take segment that was. Like I said, it was more of just like, oh,
Well, you're pretty heated, so it sounds hot to me.
yeah, I'm heated because at the end of the day, dude, like, we both come from Yu-Gi-Oh. You know what I'm talking about. There's an extreme
know.
level of we don't want to get there, and then there is the perfect balance of yes, this is a
Hey.
cool.
30-second tangent. What do you think of the new like out of frame cards that they're trying to make for Yu-Gi-Oh? Have you seen those?
No, I'm not. Like I said, okay. First off, if we're talking Yu-Gi-Oh, their frames are terrible to begin with. Their color palette is god awful.
It's bad.
God awful.
It's really bad.
It is. I don't even know how you can get to 2026 and you're still thinking that is what people want to look at because it is god awful.
But like the cards are like outside of the frame. Like you know what I'm talking about? Like
no, I don't.
It's bad.
As someone who has had to put me and you, Billy, into multiple frames constantly, I can only imagine it just probably looks like garbage. So you know what, Yu-Gi-Oh, figure your shit out. Get Fabricio on your fucking team and get that figured out. All right. With that, I think we're gonna wrap it up. This was episode 54. Billy, any final thoughts before we say bye to the viewers for this week?
Register for the WWB March into Monkey Duck Madness Cup.
Oh, he's got it down pat. Let's go. Yes.
By March 20th. We will be posting the stuff soon. So look forward to that.
No, for sure. I mean, for me, hey, like I said, any tournaments, I am about to smash. I know they're at GammaCon, and I hope everything's going very well for them at Gamma, for the Ward staff. But as soon as they come back, we need a tournament. We need like 4 months of tournament layout here and up to Ward Bowl because I want to know what the schedule is here, and I want to make sure everyone has tons of opportunities to get to tournaments, to get their rankings up. Again, we are people that cover tournament, we cover the rank scene of Ward. Please, Ward staff, please put just any event that is going on that isn't, as much as I love these cons, we need it. We need it. The competitive scene needs that. So especially since Ward Bowl is honestly right around the corner. I mean, it's March. I mean, last Ward Bowl was in June, at the beginning of June. So unless they're planning on moving the date, like, we need this stuff, and I'm shouting it out right now. And Ward Bowl Jr. God dang it. Give us that Ward Bowl Jr.
Give us the Ward Bowl Jr.
All right. And with that, Billy's alt art, terrible. And episode 54. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Oh,